And welcome to EduView. We're still alive and we're all back. So happy to be talking again and hanging out. It was very nice to see all my friends. And we have Amy and Jamie, which everybody should know. We also have a new person expanding upon our collection of people here and somebody who we've become very familiar with via Voxer. Rodney, you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rodney Turner, also known as Techie Turner. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona.
So we branched out of Georgia. That's true.
Yes. Woohoo!
No other difference whatsoever, just the state location. So,
what about our friend on the other side?
Amy, where
Yes.
is she in EduView?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh,
However,
that's right. She's moved. There's changes.
she doesn't live in Georgia
What is
anymore.
that for changes? That's right. Amy, where are you now?
Well, currently I'm sitting in my bedroom in Maine, at my parents' house, but I live in Annapolis, Maryland, and I've been teaching just outside of DC.
Good Lord. And before that you were with Jamie.
I was with Jamie in Fayette County.
Right. And Jamie, where are you now?
I'm still in Fayette County, but missing Amy immensely. So still at the same school, but as we all know, we're going to talk about some change tonight. So haven't actually physically, I have moved. I built a house, so I moved 5 miles from my old house. So I did move. Take that, y'all.
No. You cannot do the moving thing with me because I have moved twice. So I think the last time was in North Carolina, and then I lived with my in-laws for 3 months while we were transitioning because the house sold in like 2 days. And now we're in Athens, Georgia. So in the country, they're cows and sheep and cotton. I'm getting used to this. Yeah.
Agriculture is important.
Apparently so. In my new school district, which is several jobs from the last time I spoke. And it's not a bad thing. But they actually have a huge FFA program at one of the middle schools, one of the best in the country. Yeah.
That's why all those cows and sheep come in handy.
Apparently so. There's a barn on the high school. Like that's the first thing I ever noticed that driving through the high school. I was like, there's a legitimate barn here. So
Barns and technology. You're marrying them together.
there were computers in the window. There were computers in the barn. I saw them in the window.
You actually worked in a barn recently, didn't you?
I did work in a barn too. So
There's a theme here.
Yeah, you're right. Very true. Was I in higher ed the last time we talked?
I think so.
I think you're still at Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia, whatever.
Georgia Gwinnett.
Georgia.
Steve
Amy.
leaves Georgia, and she's just now throwing him on the bus, huh?
I did higher ed. I probably won't go back. That was different. Instructional technology specialist for Coney County, and as of this week, new director of personalized learning innovation for Jackson County Schools. So,
Yay!
talk about change, because I mean I was a classroom teacher in 2014.
Yeah, so when Kat and I met, Kat was at Mount Vernon.
Right.
And I was a consultant.
That's right.
And then since then, Kat left Mount Vernon, went to Georgia Gwinnett, left Georgia Gwinnett, went to Oconee, left Oconee, went to Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
I think she has a spreadsheet on each of us.
I do. I do. In fact, I was thinking about that because I was realizing how every one of us in the time that we've met have had at least 2, if not 3, job change / role changes. Because even Stacia, while she stayed at Lovett, and Kate, while she stayed at Fayette County, role changes have still happened there. And the rest of us, we're everywhere doing something.
Oh, very true. Rodney, you've had some big changes, haven't you?
I have. Since we last talked, I have gone from the public to the private industry. So I'm working currently with a school district under the that's been contracted by. Sorry, I'm working with a small company that's been contracted by a school district as a technology integration specialist, and that has been an adventure. It's really different to be in a role such that I can work with teachers and such, but know that I don't have to be a part of the politics and such.
That is definitely different. I don't think any of us have ventured in the private sector. Closest thing, Jamie being a consultant. So is it very, very different? Because you're still kind of in the school, right?
Right. I am definitely in the school. One of the things that I found that's actually truly different is that it's a different type of politics. Since I'm in the school every single day, because that's where my headquarters is, that's where I go every single day, I have to be mindful of what I do, because people are watching and they realize, hey, these are just different things that I do. One of the things I also realize is that I'm on the client. They're the client. And so I have to make sure that I do certain things to keep them happy, to make sure that I have clear communication, and that I maintain the business image. Mm-hmm. So it's been definitely different. Still, at the same time, too, a lot of it's the same ideas, in that seen as a spy, seen as someone that probably can't be trusted, because he's going to take this information that he's gathering every day. He peeks in the classroom and then he takes it back to the top. No, that's not what I'm about. So to me, relationships is absolutely critical in making sure that I'm talking to teachers and I'm working with them such that they do trust me. So there are some major differences, but then I have two different people that I need to work with, the school and with the company, and making sure that somehow, some way they merge together. It has been an experience.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Oh God, well gracious. Have they had an innovation specialist before, or is this a first time thing for them?
The company or the school?
School. The
school, yes, it would be the very first time. So there's a lot of structures that definitely need to be put in place when you have someone in my position. It's very critical, as well as making sure that the company understands what that looks like at the school level. Because if they don't realize what it looks like at the school level, then it's going to be kind of difficult to say, here's what they can do. But at the same time, if you don't have structures in place for them, then they would get frustrated about, okay, we need these certain things in place. We need to make sure that there's accountability. We need to make sure that there's certain professional development. There needs to be an aligned professional development, such that every single thing is not like right now, right here, right now, and everything's dumped on the teacher, because that creates animosity, because they're not really ready for all of the wonderfulness that educational technology brings to them. So, it's just pacing. And being a consultant of sorts, you can't really say you need to do this without some type of backup.
Well, and it's interesting, I think, from, most of us look at school districts having a core group of district people who are doing this role. And so I think we forget that there are small districts, and there are places, and I say small district, but Fulton County Schools actually goes through I Teach. So small districts and big districts alike are looking at an alternate form to get instructional technology resources into their schools. And I think we sometimes forget that this avenue even exists, because we are so acclimated to district employees having that role.
Right.
I think that where we are, that could actually be a benefit, because in the Archdiocese of Washington, where I've been working, there's a ton of really tiny Catholic schools, and often the instructional technology person is also the music teacher or the PE teacher or the school counselor. There's just so many people doing this role that are also doing another role in their schools. And this is a place where they could really benefit from a private sector company providing that. It would provide something more cohesive, I think, for our many scattered small schools.
What a fun field we work in. But see, that I think that also goes to show that there are many possibilities and options that are open to people if they just want to actually look at it and try to go through some type of structures to figure out how things actually work.
Oh yeah, I'm all for. I like the collaboration aspect of it, and I like the outside perspective. And Jamie, y'all get it as consulting and doing all the other stuff that we've done on the side since we last talked. Well, on air as I do. It's just, you see all these different perspectives and you learn a lot from working with other people. And I wish that other teachers and schools could see the benefit of inviting people from the outside in.
Well, I think that, I've, and the last time we did EduView, I was the instructional technology specialist at my school, and I've had 3 years of that. And it's been an incredibly eye-opening opportunity. But last year I just hit a wall, and I hit that wall because I felt like, while great changes happened, like I have an expectation. Yes, we went from here to here. Like we made great jumps in 3 years, but I wanted to go like, you can't see where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted us to be. And maybe it was unrealistic, but at the end of the day, I know that I wasn't at the pace I wanted to be at. So I decided I wanted some change, and I wanted to attack it from a different point of view. And so about January, I said, I think I want to go back to the classroom. And, y'all, I think the biggest shock to me is how many people went, why would you want to do that? And I was like, oh my gosh, classroom teachers are flipping amazing. They're, like that was the most baffling piece to me, is that we were like, once you're out of that role, why in the world would you ever go back? Right. And some classroom teachers said that to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all don't realize that you're like gold. Like you do the good stuff every day. We're just all sitting on the sidelines. Like we're not making the major impact, right? You're doing the big stuff. Right. And it was like this weird, I don't know why she'd want to come back and do this. And I had so many people say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I'm absolutely sure I want to do this. But after and I haven't even, I'll go back to the classroom this fall, but just in the short period of time that I have been considered a classroom teacher at my school, it's amazing the difference in how people perceive me and what they're willing to hear me say. And when they look at you as a peer, instead of seeing you as this outsider, and I work there. I'm like down the hallway, right? I've been there for 3 years, but I think there's a huge difference. And I think what I'm going to find, it's my goal, is that teacher leadership is as crucial as cat's job. And at the end of the day, if you do not have teachers impacting, and I mean teachers not just one, but one on every grade level, or 2 on every grade level, or 10 on every grade level. I know there's not 10, but you've got to have that leadership, because they're looking to their peers first and foremost. And if that one person is going to the district person and getting all the information and embedding that curriculum with instructional technology, then they share that to their peers, and their peers take it because they're doing the same job. And to me, like my ultimate goal this year is just to document how crucial every piece of this step is. And that, yes, Kat's job is hugely important. She's going to make great change in Jackson. But it's going to be nothing different than what I'm going to do in the classroom with 8-year-olds. And we need to open our eyes to that. That is where we need to just go, hey, guess what? Every single part of our role, from the classroom teacher to those district level people, they're important. And if we're not all pulling our weight, we're never going to get anywhere.
That's fascinating you say that, because even in a directorship for me, it's the school leadership and the teachers. I'm always looking to them, because I can do whatever, I can push out whatever I want, but if they don't buy in, it's not going to be sustainable, or it's not even going to be a success. So I do it for them, not just for me. So I think it's funny that even teachers have that perception of themselves, and they're so afraid of that infiltration and the change that others might bring upon themselves, that they only look to their peers. And I really would love to break that, fictitious hierarchical thing in their head.
I think the other thing that Jamie is going to be able to do is also use the apps that the teachers are using, using the technology that the teachers are using every day. Like I find myself, I will, in a computer technology role, I will go and I will test everything and use some of it, but not necessarily use it in the same way that the classroom teacher is going to use it. And, what we bring to the table, and people forget about us as teachers because, it's we are lumped in with art teachers and music teachers and PE teachers, right? Those are our peers. However, we didn't start here at Computers and Technology. We started in the classroom. I started in 6th grade. Jamie was in 3rd. We've all been in several different roles, but when I moved to my new school, and actually this school that I moved to before that, because I moved directly into computer technology roles, people didn't realize that I was also at the heart of it a classroom teacher. And so Jamie's going to be able to really take what her technology knowledge is and marry that with her pedagogy and her content knowledge, and voila, she's going to be a fantastic model for those other 3rd grade teachers and the teachers that are nearby in the hallway watching what they're doing.
That's right. A couple of things that I realized is that, Jamie, you were talking about how teachers are amazed that you would go back to the classroom. And what's one of the things that I've talked about myself in relating to other people, it's not about going back to the classroom, it's going into a good place. So, that's one of the things that I have been saying. I realize that there are some changes that need to be made as far as I'm concerned and making sure that I'm ready. But I've had some people say, well, why do you want to go back to a classroom? Why would you even consider that? I said, well, you know what? First of all, that's where a lot of things happen, and that's where I want to be, is in a classroom. Even though I'm a technology integration specialist, I want to be in the classroom to see all of the wonderful things that they are doing. So that's one of the things that I find is, first of all, just the terminology and the vocabulary that we use. The other thing that I think is really interesting that you mentioned, Amy, is the fact that people don't see you as a teacher because they see you as something else. One of the biggest things that helped me to get across to people is like, look, I've been a teacher. I've been a 5th grade teacher. So sorry, a 4th grade teacher, a 5th grade teacher, a 6th grade teacher. And I've done it for years before I even got to this position. They're like, really? And it's like, yeah, test me, try me. I mean, what are some things that you have? And they don't really take me up on it, but they do watch and say, let me help you. And it's amazing the types of things or types of doors that interaction opens up. So they realize, oh, we can trust you. So I think it's absolutely awesome that Jamie's going back to the classroom. See, I just said it.
You did it.
I just said it. It's awesome that Jamie is going into a classroom and teaching 3rd graders and saying, hey, this is what I do. And I'm ready to hear all the wonderful, cool stories that she's going to tell us.
There would be some cool stories. Don't you worry. In fact, like just today, I know y'all know Kitty Tripp. And so Kitty and I had a phone call today, and we've already planned out like how we're going to connect our classrooms in the fall. And we've already started like a Google Doc of doing that. So yeah, I'm excited. And I agree, Rodney. The term back to me, I think, for me, I guess it doesn't hurt me as much because I'm returning to the job I had prior to instructional technology. But I think in some elements, people do perceive that as a backward step, like you're taking a step back. And why would you do that? And, to me, it's a step forward because I think I'm going to have 10 times the impact this year than I've probably had in the last 3 years in terms of like change and growth in our school, because I'm going to be sitting around with everybody else and they're going to finally see me as a teacher. And I don't think they have ever done it. Amy said it. We're just specialists. What do we know about teaching, right?
You nailed it. You nailed it right there. That personal professional change does not have to be, quote unquote, the traditional upward mobile. It's forward. It's not up. It's just moving forward. And you're moving forward in your career to what you feel, where your passions align, what you feel is best, and what would best represent what you can do. And the impact piece is big for me. That's why I've jumped around as fast as I've jumped around, is I trust the time in my life. I follow where I can make the biggest impact. And that's why I am where I am now. Frankly, if I didn't think I could make an impact, I wouldn't be in the position. So it's that forward motion as opposed to upward. I like that.
Me too. Let's coin that.
Amen.
So it has to have emotion.
Oh, yeah. the forward motion. I was about to go geeky and talk about physics and time moving through space, but I'll
Don't do that. Why not?
So that's personal professional change, and it's kind of interesting how other people perceive it in a more traditional sense. I like the fact that we are more growth mindseted. I think it does tie into fixed versus growth mindset big time. And it's so funny that how long ago did Carol Dweck release that book? Isn't that like years?
Long time.
Yeah, and people
Better go. You want me to Google it? I got this.
Thank you. What a nice skill. Go figure. Googling something. Interesting. But we still talk about it, and people still don't understand it, and they still suffer from that fixed mindset. Half the battle of
when did Carol Dweck write Growth Mindset?
There you go.
Wikipedia. Carol S. Dweck is the Lewis and Virginia Eaton Professor of Psychology at Stanford University.
Oh, sorry. There's a picture of her. I'm working on that. Keep going.
But how much of professional growth potential, not just mindset, but that forward movement, gets hampered by school climate and culture and the disorganization of change management and within the organization? So, I mean, that's a bigger scale of things. And if you are a teacher and you're fourth year, fifth year teacher, you have tons of potential, you have a passion for moving forward. If you're in an environment where you don't have support from your school leadership because they're afraid of change, or if you experience something where there's a rapid set of innovations that are just pushed out without any kind of implementation plan, that's the worst thing you can do for organizational change. That destroys your movement. That creates that fear of, that's the us versus them, the hierarchical thing. And it's hard to fight against that.
2006. Growth mindset research has been around since 2006.
Good
Wow.
Lord. And I mean, literally, I'm having conversations with people still. They're like, what's that book? What's growth mindset?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess I'm being buying that book for a bunch of people in the near future.
That's a book study.
It really is. It always applicable. Just like differentiation has never gone away, ever. Still in conversations, and it should be.
And it's always interesting to, especially because I move around a lot, and just to go into a new school district and they're like, okay, well, we're focusing on this year. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
It's like Amy's in Groundhog Day. Everywhere she goes, she just starts over.
There you go.
It feels that way. It feels that way a lot. And sometimes it's good. Like, I was really able to kind of start the whole Chromebook movement and Googleize all the students at my recent school. But I'm going to move on from that, and I'm going to go someplace else where
do it again.
I'm going to do it in the classroom.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a little scary. Like, I don't know that I'm as enthused as Jamie as, because here's where my trepidation is. It's in the grading 90 essays at a time. But I'm going to work it out so I'm not grading 90 essays at a time.
Okay, girl. Technology. That's what saved me. And if I ever went back to the classroom, I would not complain about grading. Technology-empowered grading can help.
Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, and when I was teaching English at Flat Rock in Fayette County, I had about 90 kids, and we were all using Google, but it wasn't they were using Google, but it was before there was Google Apps for Education. Anyway,
I did it too. All right, come on, let's confess. All of us did it.
All of us did it. You do what you need to do to get your kids there, and you can. Anyway, so but it was, at least I had that ability to collect from some kids and to provide that, comment feedback for some kids. But now I can do voice commenting. Now I can have somebody else grade the grammar. There are so many things that I can do, which are just going to be tremendously awesome. I don't want to say tremendous.
Well, no, so that's a unique perspective. You can kind of see the growth of technology, even if you're going to places that haven't experienced the growth themselves.
Right.
And that speaks miles about education. Again, the whole siloed, we protect our own, it applies to school districts as well. Why don't school districts collaborate and work through change together? No idea.
Here's a little bit of perspective. I've only been out of the classroom for 5 years. Okay. When I left the classroom, there was no Google Apps for education. When I left the classroom, there was no Teachers Pay Teachers. When I left the classroom, there was no Pinterest. When I left the things that have changed in the time that I've been out of the classroom, how do you not look at this and go, oh my word, this is a completely different world. Y'all, my brain is swirling with the 4 zillion things that I can do differently. And because it's been 5 years and nothing looks the same, I'm like, brand new start. It is completely brand spanking new. And I guess I don't understand a world where we're doing anything we did 5 years ago. Like, if you did it 5 years ago, you shouldn't be. Because the world has changed so much in that time. Our kids have changed. Our instruction has changed. Right. Our resources have changed. We've got to make some change. And so to me, this is like that really, it's a fun opportunity because I don't have what I did last year. I don't have it at all. And that's a great place to be because that means I just get to write my own story and I get to do it however I want to do it. And I think that's scary for a lot of people, but yes, that's what you got to do.
Yes. And so how in cultures where change is still frightening, where districts are afraid of the district change, schools are afraid of the change from the district, teachers are afraid from the change, how can we develop that kind of approach? Where we're not afraid of the change. I'm not afraid of teaching 5 different preps at the same time like I did one year. Like I get such issues, especially in secondary, and I say this as a very proud high school teacher, where you get like sucked in, I know, right? You get sucked into the
5 preps. Oh, I'm secondary.
Y'all, there is so much potential for huge impact on those kids, social and emotional and learning, lifelong learning. But you have the issue where the people just get so siloed in their content, and that's not necessarily their fault. That's just because that's the traditional way of doing it. You always do everything via content. And that becomes an issue when you have change because they don't want to change the curriculum. They don't want to change how they approach things. Chromebooks, oh my gosh, I don't want to. I lecture. I'm an expert in my field. I want to just talk and let them listen. I don't want to have to engage them necessarily. It's just, it's a threat. And I don't blame them for it because they're passionate about their content. But at some point, when do you start to switch from content to pedagogy? So
yesterday.
And Jamie, well, go ahead, Amy, you're fine.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I, when school was out, I taught a Google Apps class for teachers from around our archdiocese, Washington, Baltimore, so around the general Metro DC area. And what was so neat is that they're rolling in their final projects now, and their final projects was to create some sort of experience for their students using the tools that we used in the class during the week. And what is really, really fun is that they are embracing it. So I'm getting tons of like interactive slide decks, that the kids can click and take this and do that. And I'm getting tons of hyperdocs, just like, oh, well, I can use this for my parents, or I can use this. And they've created their classrooms and have started putting together all of these great things. And that is, that's what we're looking for our teachers to do. So what's really exciting is that, these people are going to all go back to their individual schools this year and like kind of spread that word. And that's what we want to do in our schools. But like Jamie said, we've not been able to do that kind of in that silo, but now I can spread the love and hopefully those people will spread it, just in terms of doing things differently than they did last year and the year before that,
Let me push back against you and Jamie a little bit, the whole different thing and not doing what you should have done last year. I actually don't agree with that. I think that, just like paper and pencil have been around, it just gets reinvented. It's the same thing. You take what you've done, you make it better using the tools of today. So whatever
you do it differently.
Yes, you can do it differently, but don't necessarily throw it out. If it was you can reinvent.
No, like I'm not going to throw out, say, literature circles, but I'm not going to do them like I did when I taught 6th grade in 2007.
Correct, because they can be amplified. They can be, again, that forward motion, right? You don't want your curriculum to sit there and stagnate. you want that forward motion as well. So I have issues where people, the whole bright and shiny, like the worst thing you can do for change is that whole, ooh, this is shiny and beautiful and bright. Oh my God, we're going to buy the entire and we're going to, right? And you're just going to like, everything get on right now. I'm going to use it with no training whatsoever. And you're just going to roll with it. Worst thing you could ever do.
Interactive whiteboards, document cameras, laptops for every single student. I mean, go for it. Go for it. I've seen this a time and time and time again. It's one of the things that happened to me. It's like, hey, this is really cool. You got to look at this. This is really great. Go ahead and put it in your classroom. Oh, wow. You had a lot of growth because of that. No. Time out. Stop. It's because this tool enabled me to be a better teacher because I didn't have to grade all these worksheets. I didn't have to grade a whole bunch of tasks because I had the clickers and it gave me the data. Great. It also helped me because I understood and took my time to make sure that I do the data analysis, that it helped me to understand which standards I needed to focus on. So the tools helped me become a better teacher. The tools also show what teachers are not good. So it's just, I'm going to use the term, an accelerator. Technology is an accelerator. If it's bad teaching, the technology will show you it's a bad teacher faster. If you're a good teacher, it's going to show that you're a good teacher faster.
Can someone make an image of that so we can tweet that?
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Head on over to Canva right now.
I've already taken a picture so I can tweet that out in a little bit. But still, Rania is perfectly said. And that's something else that people are afraid of is data. And looking at the individual, I think one of the best things I ever did as a classroom teacher was in 2007. I had an AP who pushed a movement of action research in the classroom and understanding about how to apply interventions and how to do pre-tests and post-tests, because I did not really gather that. But once I saw that and I started applying that within the realm of technology, it was phenomenal to see what worked and what really didn't, and really see what was worthwhile to include. And I think ever since then, I've gone almost like I'm funneling out all these shiny things, and I'm getting down to the real core of things that matter, and that I can really excel in using and pushing for other people and helping them use in their classroom as well.
Well, and I think you have to reflect upon, yourself and your new knowledge. So, I'm going to teach a grade that the last time I taught that grade. Right. 2 different states, but the standards, aren't that far off time-wise, maybe here or there, but it's the same stuff. But my mindset now is totally different. And so my brain is processing all of these things that I didn't do wrong 5 years ago because I didn't know any better. Right. I was doing what I thought was best for my 3rd graders in 2011.
That's what matters right there. Yep.
And in 2017, I know better. So I'm going to do better. So like morning work. Well, in 2011, they all had the same exact morning work. Probably 60% of my kids didn't need that morning work. 40% really needed to spend more time with me than do the morning work. But I thought I was doing the best thing. That's the best I had. And now, I'm like, wait, whoa, what? Hey, oh my gosh. So I've decided I'm scrapping morning work for goal work. And I created my goal sheet. You can find that on the old Instagram or the Twitters or the Facebookers. And I made this goal sheet today because I'm scrapping this morning work nonsense. To me, that change is going to be crucial because my kids can come in the morning. They're going to choose on Monday, are they picking a language arts or a math goal for the week? We're going to spend the first couple weeks brainstorming what's a short-term goal. What is a short-term goal that you can achieve? It might be reading 3 nonfiction books in that week. It might be reading one chapter book, right? It might be, being able to skip count by 2s, it could be, for some kids, it could be like massive goals, depending on where they are, but they're making their individual goals, right? And they're learning how to set short-term goals. But the best part of this is we all know that the biggest things teachers complain about is that we have to stay on pace with our curriculum. So when it's time to move away from addition and subtraction and time to multiplication and division, we got to go, whether my 6 kids who have it or my 6 kids who don't have it or not, we got to go still, right? But goal work now means, guess what? Those kids that I have to keep going even though they don't get it, now we have goal work, right? And so those kids can still be working on those things in the morning It's going to help them catch up to us. And I'm still giving them an opportunity. Here's the best part. Everybody has a different goal. Nobody has the same goal. So we're not looking at each other going, oh, well, you don't have the same work that I have and you're doing something different. It's a completely different mindset. But here's the thing, in 5 years, I will have figured out something better to do than this. That's just how this works. You have to be in a place where you're willing to say, I'm better than I was 5 years ago, and in 5 years ago, I'm going to be better than I am right now. Sorry to these kids, but 5 years later, those kids get a better teacher. It's just how it works if you're willing to grow.
Yep, and accept that growth is constant. Growth is continual. It's just like learning. You will never stop growing. If you stop growing, one, you're either dead, or two, you just have given up and you're just checked out, ready to retire. Like you have to keep on growing as an educator because we expect our kids to grow. Hello, growth, right? Do you want your kids to stop growing? Do you want them to stop learning? We need to model for them as well. And by the way, Jamie, that's congratulations. That's totally personalizing the learning for your students. That's one of the other things you can do for that.
And you know what? It's going to be work, y'all. I'm not even going to play. It's going to be some work.
And
teaching them
that's
how
the
to
thing.
set the goal, teaching them how to stick to the goal. And then we're going to have a reflection side. So they will actually meet with me on Friday mornings. Again, also going to be work. And we're going to go over, did they meet the goal? If they didn't, oh, well, so what? We tried. Let's shoot for it again next week, right? And we're going to reflect what was our successes, what was our struggles. And hey, are we setting a new goal next week? Are we still working on this one? Whatever, right? It's all work. It's going to be work. That's okay. That's what they pay me for. So let's do it.
But you are only contracted, Jamie, to work 40 hours a week.
This is true.
So it just comes down to, again, that passion, the drive, even beyond growth mindset, flexible mindset. And that doesn't come inherently to most people. And most people want to say, well, I get there in the morning. And again, it's a work-life balance. It's one of my biggest arguments with homework. I feel homework is a work-life balance discussion. We should not be assigning homework, at least the traditional type, because it does impact, just like with teachers who complain about grading, guess what? Your homework is doing the same thing to your students. So nix that. But it's the work.
I wrote a blog on that too. I wrote a blog on a lot of stuff this summer.
You have time.
She's this. Jamie, I think that one of the things that is going to be interesting also for you to share is as you go through this experience and how much work you're actually putting into your classroom and how different it's going to be for your team to see the type of work that you're putting into the classroom and then to see their growth along with you. So if you could share that as we go throughout the year, that would be great too, to see, because you're one person, but you're one powerful person on a team, and seeing what kind of pushback, or what's the other appropriate term? Pushback, or they come alongside you.
Support.
Huh?
Yeah. A lack of support. Like she just feels like there's a purposeful lack of support for her stuff that she's trying to push.
Right.
That's nice saying it.
As opposed to the support that she does give and the rest of your team coming alongside of you and say, you know what, that's an awesome idea. Let's see what we can do. So that'd be really, really neat to see.
And see, and Jamie, you're in such a unique position because you yourself are so forward inclined and confident in what you can and cannot do. And you have the interdisciplinary understanding that you have in your head because of everything you've done is really empowering you. You don't need direct permission or support to really, do what you're going to do. You're going to take lead naturally. You don't follow that hierarchical structure that everybody suspects. When I'm looking at what I want to do in my district, I need those teacher leaders, and my dog's drinking water in case you hear that in the background. It's a little awkward. I need your people, but they're not going to come straight forward just automatically like we did. You have to find them and give them confidence and assurance and get their school leadership to buy in, because so many people are like, well, if my principal doesn't like it, they do my evaluations and I'll lose my job. Like, it's that fear that exists. And so we can't always get all the Jamies in the world, unfortunately. Do you hear that? Like, seriously, Charlie?
Charlie's thirsty.
Yeah,
yes, let him drink.
So getting a
drink and be merry, Charlie.
A small medium, and she's quite large now. So I got a dog. That was a big change. I was a cat person. Ha ha ha.
cats done flipped to dogs.
Oh my God.
Well, I kid you not, at the dinner table tonight, we went out to eat, and my kids, I was talking about the phone call I had with Kitty, and my oldest son, who's going into 6th grade, he's like, "You have a friend named Cat and a friend named Kitty?" I do.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't know Kitty until there was a tweet in 2014 that someone says there's a cat and a kitty at ISTE 2014. I was like, that's funny. I'm going to go meet her. So
Yeah.
I think actually I met Kitty the first time in person in Philly 2015. You remember at the presentation I was giving?
Yeah.
You, Rodney and Jamie were both there for that. So that was funny.
Hey, Cat, here's Kitty. Kitty, here's Cat.
No.
That was awesome.
You just need a person in EdTech like named Rover or something.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kitty, I mean, Kitty herself has been through some big change too. Like, I'm thinking about how many people have gone through both the personal, professional changes.
Many.
How that has impacted their confidence in their role in the classroom to speak out even louder for whatever role they're in, and that they feel like, you know, they don't necessarily need the constant permission to go and affect other people and influence their peers.
Right.
Which is a big part of change. I believe 100% in grassroots change. I mean, partially because I started a lot of that because I was a classroom teacher, pushing that and breaking the rules, which is sometimes okay. But, you know, I've seen it with other teachers too. I've seen it with you guys, and it's very, very motivating.
Well, and I think the thing about doing something like, I'm not going to do morning work, I'm just not going to do it. I think I'm not afraid to do that because I can completely justify why what I'm doing is a better practice. And I think that's the difference between doing something you just do and having this fear of what if my principal doesn't like it? Well, if my principal has a concern about my lack of morning work, I would invite her to come and see my goal work in action. And if what you're doing is impactful and you can justify the instruction, like if after 2 months my kids are like, oh, they're not. I know these kids, I've taught them since they were in kindergarten. But if it wasn't successful, I wouldn't keep doing it, right? I have to evaluate, is what I'm doing successful? Am I going to make it successful? Yes. May it be a month in the work in progress to make it successful? Sure. We'll keep at it. But if you can justify it, who cares?
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, even failure, you know, so what if you mess up? You mess up. You know, so many people, again, you're talking about what teaching to the test and stay on top of subject. If you teach right, and I mean, even I want to blow up the curriculum. I'd like to have all project-based learning, flipped, inquiry-based. You can still teach everything you need to teach standard-wise in that kind of environment. But you have to, if you fail, it's okay. You have the confidence to say, fail or win, I can definitely prove either way. I can justify why I'm doing this other way. A lot of teachers don't. It's almost like this conversation with change is coming down to the confidence of the teachers and where they lie and the support that they do or do not have historically. So, interesting. Makes me think.
But it also goes back to the mindset, though.
That's true.
It goes back to, hey, well, I only work 40 hours a week and that's it. There's no more, no less. What? I got to go to this conference and it's going to be after school? No, there's no way. I don't know how to do that. And so therefore they're limiting themselves. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent after school learning different tools. I can't tell you how many hours or days that any of us has spent to learn the things that we know, to write blogs, to do podcasts, to even get ready for different sessions that we're studying for or we're going to give. That's hours and hours of time. And that is simply to help us to become better teachers. So again, like you'd mentioned, all of you have mentioned, it goes back to a mindset and then how much passion we actually have for what we're doing. So, you know, it's also, thought just left me.
I'm going to tell you, since your thought is gone, I'm going to tell you what I believe has been probably the biggest factor in becoming the type of teacher that I am. Because my very first year teaching, I didn't have a lot of direction. I was the only 6th grade teacher in a school of 100 children. We had a half-time principal and like a head teacher who was teaching their own class. I I had a new special ed teacher to the school who spent a lot of time with me because I had 7 special ed kids in this class.
Wow.
We had just started working on the main learning results, which were the main standards, but they weren't formally in place yet. And the county standards, who knows? So, I had to spend a lot of those 2 years that I spent in this school just working, out of my own head and taking what I knew from college and trying it out and seeing what worked. And, I know I didn't teach enough science those 2 years, but I had the autonomy to figure it out, right? And I feel like so many teachers are smothered. They're smothered by the expectations of their principals. They're smothered by the, you have to get all of these standards done at this, by this time, these pacing guides. And so if the pacing guide says that you have to do it in October, well, that doesn't give you the autonomy to do it when you're doing the project that it goes with in March, right?
Right.
So, teachers haven't been given the license to live and learn their curriculum.
But we did.
But we did.
Yeah, hearing your thing and the lack
Right.
kind of stuff, and I'm sure you broke the rules too. Like I had a pacing guide for Spanish. Did I follow that? Heck no. Because I'm thinking like this does not go before that, and I get it, and I was going to do my own pace that was best for the students. Didn't y'all? I mean, didn't y'all do that too when you started?
No.
You followed everything.
That makes us a rule follower.
I am a rule follower, but after talking to you guys for the last 3 years, I think you've rubbed off on me. So, no, I absolutely followed every single rule because that's exactly what I was supposed to do. And since I did that, it got me further. However, once I realized, wait a minute, if I talk to the principal and suggest, let me try to do this differently. And they said, sure, let's see what happens. I took the liberty, every single principal after that. Hey, this is what I'm going to do. Here's my rationale. And I have yet for any of them to say, no, don't do it. And there have been some, it's like, you know what? I didn't even tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing. They just said, hey, what's this you're doing? Oh, yeah, no problem. Come on in. Let's see. This is what we're doing. And they're like, this is pretty cool. And then, and then it was like, oh, okay, it's fine. So the thing is, though, I didn't break the rules until I realized that it was okay to break them. But it was almost by accident, which kind of rolled into what I was going to say earlier. Now I'm starting to remember. But it was mentioned that, teachers follow rules and we make sure that things are done in order. Why is that? Because, number one, everyone else dictates what happens. Everyone else, meaning parents, for those that have high parental involvement, admin who have been teachers before at admin, and they are focused on stats. These are the things we need to do to make sure that we raise scores as much as possible, and that's been pushed down to teachers. And then, what's also there is the lack of mentorship of veteran teachers with the new ones that are coming in. That is the huge piece that I focus on now, is working with new teachers to make sure that they feel competent and they feel confident in every single thing that they do. You have questions, you have some great ideas, share them. Let's see what happens with it. Let's do it and try it. But teachers, veteran teachers, do eat the new teachers, number one, but also you have the teachers who do come in and they're not as confident, and there's no one there to help them to feel that confidence. So that's why I keep seeing, and we keep seeing that cycle again and again and again, of those teachers that really don't go beyond a box that they're made for.
Interesting. I mean, because I never did pre-service. And so I felt like I just fell into it and I just did what I had to do for the students. And then you're saying that you just had leadership who came across what you were doing and they were supporting you and saying, okay, that looks good, just keep on doing it. And that kind of lifted you up to the point where you could break the rules. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, I don't know, like certain models of starting. It's almost like a post pre-service while you're in your first year. That mentorship, I think, is true. The mentorship piece is huge. And
Absolutely.
there's not a lot of and almost like a district-wide one, because school-based ones are going to be so radically different. If you had someone who could kind of oversee that, overarching that, then I think that'd be a wise decision.
So thank you for giving me the segue to say that. But one of the things that we could definitely do, there's a book called Hacking Education, 10 fixes that we can do. And there's a chapter in it called the marigolds. Jennifer Gonzalez, the Cult of Pedagogy is her Twitter handle, the Cult of Pedagogy. She talks about marigolds in one of her blog posts, and marigolds are critical. Marigolds are simply plants that you put around tender plants, and they give off a fragrance, an aroma that keeps away pests that would more likely eat the new plants that are coming up.
And deer. Keeps away deer too.
And deer?
Actually, I've learned something new that that is applicable right now to my life. Thank you.
So we have these mentor teachers, those that using another model. We have people that are like Pooh Bears. Hey, let's come on in. It's okay. And those that are nurturers and soothers and comforters, those are marigolds. Hey, come on in. Let's see what we can do. I had one. I definitely had one. And that got me and a coworker of mine, a friend of mine, through our first 2 years. She said, come into my room after school's out. Let's cry. Let's talk. Let's see what happened. And she was a marigold, and she was critical to my success. And I still talk with her today. And she's like, it's so good to see you growing, honey. I mean, it's awesome. It is awesome. And she's just absolutely glad. But having those marigolds, we have to look for those marigolds inside the school. I mean, even though there isn't a formal mentorship, you can still pair new teachers with those that will be able to say, hey, let me show you some reins. Let me give you some ideas. And that will be an informal mentor to them.
Was your marigold in your content field or your grade level?
She, at the very beginning, no, she was out of my grade level. I did not get to her team for like 3 years.
Wow.
So she was outside. Right. It was. But, she knew that we were struggling, and we finally gravitated to her. And, it was absolutely awesome. But again, it's just making sure that we connect those that need the help to those that can provide the help. Jamie, you talked about having a teacher leader. That's exactly what marigolds are teacher leaders. Hey, let's do something to help these people to move along. That's what they are. They're teacher leaders who will protect.
Now I'm thinking, that's something that I'm totally going to steal now. for the new teachers and new people to the district as well. But now I'm thinking the veteran teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want so bad, and get out. I'm thinking, with the content area to get out of their content area, to feel safe, to explore, to innovate, and find that passion again, and find what really interests you. And it's like, so you have a marigold for the people who are new, and they have that emotional support that don't we all need that your first couple of years teaching, because that is a traumatic experience, the learning curve. It is, and it's a good thing. You learn a lot about yourself and about a lot of different people.
Yes.
Very quickly. But for veteran teachers, what type of person would it take to have that person that sparks that change? Like, I'm thinking of my friend Lindsay, who was on EduView a long time ago. He used to be very anti-technology, very anti change, wants to stick to all the content, all this stuff, and somehow something sparked in her that she flipped and became something completely different. Mm-hmm. So how can we do that for our veteran teachers? It's tough.
I think it's intrinsic. I do. I don't think there's a dangling carrot. I think that if they see it and they're like, okay, I can do that. I'm going to put the effort in to do it. And that intrinsic motivation exists. They're going to.
Oh, but wait, see, now you're going to game-based learning, which I like a lot. And you don't have intrinsic unless you got the extrinsic. So which extrinsic will turn on the intrinsic for veteran teachers?
Okay. I'll take your challenge. I think it is, so good teacher good here, doing great things, gets recognition from administrator, district leader. Ooh, I like that. What are you doing? I can do that too, right? So if there is an extrinsic motivator, it would be that recognition. Now, that being said, that can also go the other way. And it can be, well, I can never do what she's doing, and I'm never going to get that attention, so I'm just going to hate it.
That's why you have to have more than one extrinsic, because I mean, in fact, I can't say anything right now because it's all under wraps, but things I'm pushing out in my department, you know, there's a piece that is very much the recognition, the competition part, like, but there's so many different parts of extrinsic. I need to find that other piece to, you know, not deal with, but to help the other veteran teachers who are not turned on by recognition.
Okay, so I've got another one.
Ooh.
So for me, you know, I created my class Instagram account thanks to y'all and all your suggestions on how for me to make that happen. Thanks, y'all. But to me, that branding of my classroom gives me a couple options, right? It allows me to connect with technology companies that have products like the ones that are on Rodney Turner's head right now, and say, I am going to use these products in my classroom. And they say, okay, well, here's some of our products. So you want to try them and let us know your opinion on them? Try them with kids. And there they are. So he's wearing Think Great headphones, and Rodney has some Think Greats. I have some Think Greats. I actually got those products and tried them out using, what did I do? Gosh, why does it seem like so long ago? What did I do with that, y'all? I wrote a blog about that too. Google's app, the little 3Ders. It's 10 something at night. It's almost 11. Toontastic. Use Toontastic with those headphones. I now have 5 Think Great headphones for my classroom, right? The people who aren't trying these products don't have that. So the second and extrinsic piece is connecting your classroom to places where you can have resources that others do not have, or that you don't have to purchase yourself, right? I saw teachers on the Seesaw group today saying, you know, where could they get cheaper headphones because they just want, you know, some cheaper options for their classroom. Well, this item, I didn't have to pay for that. I am putting my classroom out there and saying, we will try your products and we will give you some opinions. And that could be an extrinsic motivator, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, I am digging all back in my head. By the way, maybe it's just a hazard of making the shift to this position, but literally you guys are laying out, like, from start to retirement for teachers, ways to get that switch flipped, to make them start thinking in more of the growth mindset, that social emotional piece, which again, there are some people that can apply to the end, extrinsic motivators of the competition, the reward structure and recognition. And now you're talking about the prizes and what you can get, that it's not
resources you can't afford.
Exactly. Oh gosh, when I was a music tech teacher, I bought all my own headphones, $8 at Fry's Electronics. And I ended up getting a class set for my Spanish kids. So I was the only one using the computer lab. And that was 8 times 30. That's a lot of money for a newer teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Our 30-minute reunion, it wasn't 30 minutes, y'all.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Wow.
Oh my God.
It's wicked early at Rodney's house. It's not wicked early in Maine. And
no, it's almost
in
11.
Maine, the sun comes up almost an hour earlier than in Georgia, my friends.
Yeah,
The birds start tweeting wicked early.
Well, I have a 9:30 nail appointment tomorrow morning, so I got to get to bed.
Typically, my Friday, a couple of Fridays are off in July, but I'm going into the office. I have a meeting to link Active Directory to Infinite Campus to Google. Fun times, y'all.
That does sound actually sort of exciting.
It actually is, because that means your management. It's it's using Jake Hawley in Morgan County has a program called Account Management. We want it to be where our CIS person can make create a new user, and it goes bam, bam, bam. Because what's been happening, especially in rural counties,
nice.
create all by hand. So we don't want to think like that.
That happens for us. Once it goes in Infinite Campus, it's boom, boom, boom. It just lands everywhere. That's a sweet deal. You want that.
Oh gosh, yes. So I am happy to go in on a day off to make it work.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, and fun listening to everybody's views on change and, how we can make that better for teachers, how we can, encourage the growth mindset. And I think that we have, a lot of great ideas, so we should talk about them again very soon.
Definitely. Mentorship, particularly, because I'm stealing that, Rodney. I'm stealing marigolds.
Hey.
So I guess it's secondary steal.
Yeah. So if anything, we should get Jennifer Gonzalez on the show.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome to talk to her about that, because I think that social emotional piece is huge.
Yes.
For students too.
Yes.
Morning meetings, blogged about that too. Responsive classrooms, social emotional growth is as important in academic growth. Just saying.
I'm jealous of your ability to blog. I don't have that bandwidth right now. Sorry.
And with that.
And on that bombshell.
No, not say anything bad. It's just, I'm just transitioning between jobs and I'm tired. So it's 11 o'clock and I'm actually tired.
We should go to bed.
Yeah, I think so. Rodney, you can probably stay up for a little while.
Yeah, I can. It's only 7:50.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right.
Everybody.
Edge of View viewers.
So
talk again soon.
Bye.
Bye.